Get ready for a story that challenges the imagination and dive with us into the mysteries of the cosmos. Today, we will explore the strange and intriguing story of Boriska, the Russian boy who claimed to have lived on Mars. Boriska attracted the attention of many with his fantastic statements about the red planet. His parents described him as a child prodigy who demonstrated extreme intelligence from a very early age. He learned to read at the age of 2 and soon stood out for his vast knowledge of astronomy and physics, surprising even specialists. According to his mother, Boriska was only 3 years old when he began to talk about the positioning of the planets and the mysteries of the universe. It was at this time that, to everyone's astonishment, he first claimed to have lived on Mars and remembered many details about the planet. These statements opened the doors to debates and questions that left many perplexed. So, what lies behind Boriska's words? Is it possible that he truly has some inexplicable connection to Mars? Join us as we uncover the secrets of this engaging and mysterious story, which promises to capture your attention from beginning to end. Don't miss any details of this fascinating narrative that makes us question the boundaries of reality and fiction. Born in Russia in 1996, Boris Kipriyanovich, also known as Boriska, had a childhood unlike other children. His mother, concerned with providing the best for her son, dedicated herself to studying everything about child development, reading numerous books on the subject. Her goal was to ensure that Boris developed like any other child, but contrary to expectations, he advanced at a remarkably accelerated pace at every stage of his growth. One of the first notable differences was the speed with which Boris learned to hold his head up. While the average age for this milestone is between 2 and 4 months, he achieved this ability just 2 weeks after his birth. In addition to his physical abilities, Boris's intellectual and emotional development also impressed his parents. His mother recalls that he started speaking earlier than anyone could have imagined. According to references, most children speak their first words around their first year, but Boris had already expressed himself more than some adults at that stage. And as if that wasn't enough, he learned to read at 18 months, while other children of the same age were just beginning to associate sounds with words. Boris's exceptional abilities left his parents and the adults around him astonished. Although they were immensely proud of his unique talents, they also wondered how they could support his wonderful development from such an early age. The answer came when a local daycare contacted his mother to offer a place for Boris in one of their classes. Despite being only 2 years old, he was quite comfortable with his peers. What set him apart in kindergarten, however, was his great interest in astronomy. Even at his tender age, Boris had a deep knowledge of the subject, which frequently put him in the spotlight among everyone around him. In an interview, his mother shared that Boris became a true space enthusiast from a very early age, partly because the family had many materials related to the universe. When I was 3 or 4 years old, I discovered books on astronomy. It was fascinating. I flipped through the pages and counted the galaxies out loud, as if I were speaking Latin to my parents, says Boris. The expressions on their faces were pure admiration. The capacity of my young mind seemed extraordinary, and my body, full of energy, absorbed every bit of information about astrophysics, constellations, and planets. Adults were perplexed and couldn't understand how I had acquired so much knowledge. It didn't take long for psychologists and specialists to take an interest in him, lining up to meet him. When they finally did, the consensus was clear: he was a genius. Apparently, this situation was common for many parents who rejoiced in hearing enthusiastic opinions from specialists about their children. However, one day, during a camping trip with some close friends who were used to his intelligence, something unexpected happened. The evening atmosphere was light, with everyone gathered around the campfire singing and telling stories, when he decided to share a special secret. Instead of a fun fact about space, he declared that everything he was about to say was a big secret. Expectantly, the group awaited some information about stars or galaxies. But surprisingly, he revealed that he was not human. He claimed that he was originally from Mars and that, after a series of misfortunes, he had ended up on Earth. Upon hearing this, everyone was left speechless. He began to narrate his supposed life on Mars and how he had been reborn on Earth, to everyone's amazement. He assured them that he was not the only traveler with such an unusual experience. However, what left his mother in silence was that this was not the first time he had shared a story of this kind. Since he had become aware, she had already heard similar accounts. 5 years ago, the boy claimed that he was on Mars. Nevertheless, this was the first time anyone had heard him recount the story in such detail. Despite his mother having some doubts about crucial points of what Boris was saying, he remained serious throughout the narrative. Another surprising aspect was the revelation that other beings of his kind were scattered around the planet as designated children, explaining that they were not merely children but had arrived on Earth with the sole purpose of helping humanity progress as a species. The so-called indigo children, according to a New Age pseudo-concept, are considered children who supposedly possess unusual or even supernatural characteristics or abilities in some cases. This concept was developed in the 1970s by Nancy and Tapp and later reinforced by Lee Carroll and Jan Tober. The concept of indigo children gained popularity with the publication of a series of books in the late 1990s, promoting the belief in these little beings who possess a heightened level of consciousness, as well as unique nature and abilities. They are distinguished from others in this theory, being considered the next stage of human evolution. It is also claimed that, in some cases, they possess paranormal abilities, such as telepathy, and are believed to be more empathetic and creative than their peers. Although no one considered his son's story official, he also did not believe it was fictitious, as he had faith in Boris. This led him to share the narrative with scientists, surprising him with what they had to say. Boris's knowledge of space was so vast that it included information known only to experts. The boy gained international notoriety by participating in an interview published on the internet in 2007 as part of an American study. During the interview, Boris stated that his true origin was not human but extraterrestrial. He declared that many Martians are immortal and stop aging at 35 years old, describing them as technologically advanced and capable of interstellar travel. He also reported that Martians breathe carbon dioxide and, if they came to our planet, they would need to inhale through tubes filled with this gas. When asked about his past, the boy mentioned that he remembered experiencing moments on the Red Planet at 14 or 15 years old, during a time when Martians were in constant war, which often forced him to participate in aerial attacks with his friends from the Martian Air Force. The ability to travel through time and space using spaceships was observed by them landing in triangular ships, with the assurance that the Martian vessels were extremely complex, made of multiple layers of materials that made them capable of flying to any point in the universe. He mentioned that during his time as a member of the Martian Air Force while residing on the Red Planet, he had the opportunity to visit Earth. This part of his narrative brought a surprising element. He claimed that in his time, our planet had a continent called Lemuria. This assertion by the young man in the 21st century intrigued scientists who were searching for evidence of human evolution throughout history and reminded them of an old theory. Lemuria was the name of a supposed continent presented in the 19th century, in 1864, by French academics and notably by English geologist Crater Phillips, to explain the presence of lemurs or their relatives both in India and South Africa. According to this theory, Lemuria would be a portion of land or continent that had been submerged in the sea, similar to Atlantis, and classified as a possible cradle of humanity located in the Pacific Ocean. Its existence would not only explain the origin of lemurs, but also enable human migration to other parts of the world. However, scientific advances demonstrated the impossibility of this hypothesis, with tests on tectonic plates that discredited the existence of a lost continent. Boris's knowledge earned him a good reputation among the specialists who knew him, making them pay attention to the predictions he began to make. When he shared his mission on Earth, there was great interest, and, according to Boris, they were sent to inform Earth's inhabitants about something hidden on the planet that could transform the world. He spoke about one of humanity's most fascinating subjects, the pyramids of Egypt. According to the information he provided, there was a secret door visibly located behind the ear of the Sphinx, capable of changing human life. However, although the boy knew where the door was, he did not remember how to open it. Before Boris continued with his story, we need to analyze that the Egyptian pyramids were already surrounded by numerous narratives suggesting a supernatural origin. Their magnificent location under the stars made many people speculate about the existence of something magical in them. When Boris shared his story, he left speechless while the specialists, only 7 years old, did not seem immediately impacted by the turmoil caused by his allegations. Over time, these claims were quickly marginalized, and few could imagine that the little boy had a brilliant future ahead of him. 15 years later, with Boris now 22 years old, specialists began to validate one of the theories he had proposed. Young researchers exploring the pyramids for other purposes ended up coming across fragments of Boris's story. Martian archaeologists made a significant discovery using new cosmic ray imaging technology that allowed them to observe the interior of the pyramids without having to demolish anything. Thus, they found a secret chamber built more than 4,500 years ago, directly above the Grand Gallery. After excavating the area, They confirmed that the chamber did not contain valuable treasures, and unfortunately, opening this location did not alter the course of humanity or reveal any ancient pharaonic artifacts. After confirming the discovery of the Sphinx's secret chamber, many journalists from Russia and elsewhere tried to locate Boris but were unsuccessful. Since the 2007 recording, they had no more information about the young man's whereabouts or his mother. Rumors of a possible disappearance, forced labor, or control by Russian authorities surfaced, and the boy completely disappeared. Despite his uncertain fate, years later, a supposed current photo of Boris began circulating on Instagram. In the image, a young man appears wearing a white t-shirt with slightly different hair, and the photo went viral because he bore some resemblance to the child who had been interviewed earlier. The image also showed the young man hugging a child between 10 and 12 years old, appearing happy, which would suggest that the child who claimed to have come from Mars was safe and content. Today, Boris is no longer recognized as a boy but as a 26-year-old young man. Although his statements about the Red Planet were never confirmed, and his incredible story was discredited, it is still worthy of a science fiction plot. Thank you so much for watching this story. Your presence and support are essential for me to continue creating quality content. So, if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new episodes. Your subscription and comments are fundamental for me to keep bringing quality content. Leave your opinion in the comments, always with respect for the victims, and together let's build an even better community. Thank you so much for following my work, and I'll see you in the next episode.